Man, you got your Diet Cokes in. You ready to rock?
Yeah, ready to go. Big day. Cape Atlantic League Championship Day. State tournament starts on Monday. You know, mainland swimming for a state title on Sunday. So you got to be, fueled up and ready to go this time of year, you know?
You're not kidding. I'm on a little bit of lack of sleep. I got to power through it here. Might need some Red Bull or something to get me through the day.
Exactly. You know, a lot of great events this time of year. Neglected to mention, but I'm sure, John O'Kane and Mark Tribble have to maintain some street cred with them. You got region wrestling this weekend also. So, just really, and meet of champions in indoor track and field too this weekend. So really just, a lot of good stuff going on the high school sports team.
Let's break down these Cal basketball championship games a little bit here, Mike. We had on Scott Betson from Mainland girls team a little bit earlier in the show. And what a tremendous season they're having, 24-0. They're going to be taking on Ocean City, which is a team they're very familiar with. They played twice this year. Both games went into overtime. So Ocean City is really one of the one teams that can match up with Mainland when you're talking about their height inside and the guard play. So it should be a great matchup.
Yeah, I think what you have there is, you got two rivals. Of course, Ocean City and Mainland are rivals in every sport. Girls basketball, they've got a big rivalry. And I think anytime rivals meet, the game is physical, the game is intense, and I think that's what you're going to see this afternoon. I mean, it's kind of like Duke and North Carolina. That's what Mainland and Ocean City girls is.
It'll be interesting to see how each team reacts to that setting. It's a big gym over there at Stockton. It's going to be a huge crowd, and we're used to seeing these teams have success. But when you look at these rosters, not many players on either side. Obviously, nobody from Mainland has been to this championship game, and only one or two girls from Ocean City remain from last year's defending championship team. So you're talking about a whole new crew of players getting to experience this for the first time. So that should be interesting to see how that first quarter goes.
Yeah, I think as I wrote in today's Press of Atlantic City and online at pressofac.com, I think you're not going to see an artistic success, which is fine. I mean, and there's a couple of factors for that. One, it's a rivalry game, and the teams are so familiar with each other. I mean, when they call out each other's inbounds plays, they're probably already running to the spots where, they know players are going to be and stuff like that. So they know each other inside and out. There's going to be no surprises. That's number one. Number two, Stockton is a great site, but it is different for high school kids to go in there and play. It's a much bigger gym than they're normally used to playing. The depth perception, particularly for perimeter shots, can be difficult to adjust to. So usually in the Cape Atlantic League Championship games, neither team really shoots well. Both of these teams are outstanding defensively. Ocean City, one of the most successful programs in South Jersey. Their success has kind of been built on defense. And I think Mainland this year is a tremendous defensive team. We talk about Kylie Watson at 6'4", her offensive skills, but defensively, she's quick, she's aggressive, she's all over the place. Gabby Boggs at 6 foot is long. She's excellent defensively. The guards, Georgia Schoen, Fran Giorani, they can pressure ball handlers. So I think Mainland, is really outstanding defensively. And then I just think, it's going to be a test of wills. It's going to be the team that can sort of handle the adversity that comes during the game, handle, a run by the other team. I think it's going to be as much a test of skill as it is a test of will.
Yeah, I was listening to you during the week, talking to Mike Gill, kind of previewing this weekend, and you made a great point about Mainland, how good they are defensively, and especially Watson. I think you talked about her defensively, and she might be probably the best defender interior-wise in South Jersey, and I think that goes overlooked with all the other things she does on the court.
Yeah, not only can she guard interior, which you would expect as the fact that she's 6'4", but she can also get out on the perimeter and hound players who are, 7 inches shorter than her. So she can guard the big player inside. She can guard the player on the perimeter. She's an outstanding defensive player. And I look at Mainland, two games I've seen recently. One was the semifinal game Wednesday night against Atlantic City. They held Atlantic City to one basket in the second quarter, and that was really the difference. And then earlier, about 2 weeks ago, at their War versus the Shore event, they played in Manchester Township, the defending South Jersey Group 2 champion. And Mainland held Manchester to, I think, one basket during a 16, 17-minute stretch in that game. So that's the indication of the type of defense they play. And that's what enabled Mainland to separate themselves from both those opponents and win the games. And when I look at Mainland, I look at a team that is built on, that sort of stingy defense, and I think that's a big reason why they're 24-0.
Mike, I think the real key for Ocean City is, can they keep those 5 starters out of foul trouble? Because Mainland really has probably the best depth of any team in South Jersey. They can just keep running players out there who are good enough to be starters on most other teams. So Ocean City really has to be careful about picking up quick early fouls.
Yeah, and another key for Ocean City is we just talked about the Mainland defense. They're not going to get many open shots, but when they do get open shots, they're going to have to knock them down. They're going to have to take advantage of the few scoring opportunities they get, and that means hitting the open perimeter jumper. That means knocking down foul shots. I think that's the real key for Ocean City as far as today's game goes.
Talking with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. And, Mike, generally, I'm not jealous of high school kids in any shape or form, but when you see Flash Morgan leap from just inside the foul line and throw down a thunder dunk, I get a little bit jealous for that kind of athletic ability.
Yeah, considering me, I mean, I couldn't jump over a cocktail napkin. So, to have that sort of leaping ability, he is probably, and I've been doing this a long time, he is probably one of the most entertaining or, acrobatic athletes I've seen in the years I've been doing it. That dunk the other night, where, like you said, he kind of took off just inside the foul line, did a scissor kick or something and slammed it down, was just incredible. I mean, sometimes he jumps so high you're afraid he's going to hurt himself, basically. Right. But he is really one of the most entertaining. It's great when he gets the ball out on the break now or breaks free, and the whole gym just sort of sucks their breath in anticipation of what he's going to do. And, we'll see what he does today out at Stockton. He told me he has a 360 in his back pocket. I don't think he's unveiled it yet. But
well, he broke out that windmill dunk at the Seagull Classic.
Right. That was another spectacular one against Camden Catholic, the one the other night. But, just a tremendous athlete, of course, going to football as a wide receiver to Maine University on a scholarship, and you kind of know what the Bears are going to call. The Bears of Maine are going to call. First and goal from the 9-yard line, first to the back pylon, and let Flash jump and catch it.
And Ray Bethea, I mean, talk about this kid a little bit. Atlantic City has such a storied history in basketball, and we're really witnessing one of their best players ever. I mean, this kid can drop 40, 50 on you at any time, and to have a high school player with that kind of ability, even against the best competition, is really cool to see. I mean, this kid, he can get inside, and like you said, he's had games this year where he scored 40 points without a three-pointer, 35 points, that kind of thing. But he could also shoot the three. He had 7 threes against Pleasantville in that win at the Battle by the Bay. So really kind of a dual threat inside-outside, and just a fun kid to watch.
Yeah, and that's the key for Wildwood Catholic today, to sort of control Ray. He is capable of getting 30, 35, 40 points in the game. And like you said, he's kind of a throwback to a different era. He scored 51 points in the game this year, which was a school record. Didn't hit a three-pointer during that game, which is, unheard of in today's basketball world. He kind of just overwhelms people, in that middle range, overwhelms people inside, is able to, really score in that, 8 to 12-foot area. Get in the lane and stuff. And but you said he can go outside and hit the three. So that's a big challenge for Wildwood Catholic today, to kind of slow him down and control him.
I'll tell you what, though, Mike, I was impressed with Wildwood Catholic in that game against St. Augustine Prep. I mean, when you're talking about playing the Prep, that's not an easy task to beat a team like that's so good fundamentally, and yet they were really in control for most of that second half.
Yeah, I think Wildwood Catholic, you can make a case, is playing as well as any team in South Jersey right now. You think about it, they're 3 points away from being an undefeated team. They lost to Atlantic City by 1 a couple of weeks ago in a regular season game at Stockton, and they lost to Eastern by 2 up at Rancocas Valley in the Jeff Coney Classic. So they're 3 points away from an undefeated season. What I like about Wildwood Catholic is we all know about Caleb Fields. He's had a great season. We all know about Taj Street inside, but they can hurt you in a lot of ways. The other night against St. Augustine, the sophomore guard, Jaleel White, 8 for 9 from the floor, season-high 17 points to really propel him to the victory. Jacob Hopping and Blake Russell can come off the bench and hit some threes to really help them. Mike Capizzoli can grab a rebound, get a putback. Charles Fields, Caleb's brother, does a lot of stuff. Gets to loose balls, plays defense, scores on the break. So the Wildwood Catholic, they're a potent team, and I think really playing as well as any team in South Jersey. And I think it's going to be a big challenge for Atlantic City today.
Mike, did you see the game when they played a couple weeks ago, Atlantic City Wildwood Catholic?
Yeah, I did, and Wildwood Catholic, again, kind of kicking themselves after that game. Wildwood Catholic up 5 with about 4.5 minutes to play. Atlantic City comes back, takes the lead, and Wildwood Catholic's got the ball, 3 times in the final 40 seconds with a chance to tie or take the lead, and just did not convert. So, I think Wildwood Catholic looks back at that game as one of lost opportunities, and is anxious to get a second shot against Atlantic City this afternoon.
So how do you expect today's game to go? Do you think it's going to be a track meet, or do you think it's going to be one of those games that really grinds into the 50s?
I think it's going to be, they played, I think the score was 60-59 when they played, about 2 weeks ago, and I think you're going to see a similar game. I think it's going to be, these teams are so good defensively that they're going to be able to slow each other down a little bit. I don't think you're going to see a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see a game in the 50s, and I think it's going to come down to whatever team is able to execute offensively in the last 4 minutes. That's what happened 2 weeks ago. Nazim Derry got open, hit a big 3 to give Atlantic City the lead for good, and Wildwood Catholic wasn't able to answer on their offensive end. So I think you're going to see a close game. Got to come down to the final 4 minutes, and whatever team is able to execute in the half court or make plays in that final 4 minutes on the offensive end of the floor is going to walk away as a Cape Atlantic League champion. Talking
with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. And Mike, I think one thing that Atlantic City has going for them is their inside players have really come a long way in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Talking about guys like Ramon Rodriguez, Zion Teague, Zaire Montague. Those guys have really stepped up their game. I think they might have got tired of seeing Ray and Flash and Derry get all the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, I've been especially impressed by Ramon Rodriguez, Atlantic City forward, swingman right there. He's been able to go out and hit a lot of threes and stuff and really make a big difference. I thought he played really well the other night against Pleasantville, and I think his ability to hit some perimeter shots has kind of been underrated this season. I think he's quietly having an outstanding season for the Vikings.
Mike, we're up against the break. Got to let you go, but we always appreciate your insight. And should be a couple exciting games up there at Stockton's. The girls' game starts at noon, boys' games at 2. So you'll have your hands full today, and I'm sure the rest of the weekend as well, trying to keep up with all these great high school events going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So always one of the best days and best weekends of the year. I'll catch you down the road. Thanks for a few.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
All right, see you later.
That was Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City. Check